He is the current Chief Executive of Ajax, the former player in Amsterdam, Juventus, Fulham, Manchester United as well, 130 caps for Holland to boot. It is Mr. Edwin van der Sar who is joining us for this very special session on a very important day for you, Edwin, because you've got a big match coming up this evening.
Yeah, Adam, hi. Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, thanks for the introduction. It's it doesn't come much bigger. It's the last match of the group stage. It's a must-win, and as you notice that because of the situation with the virus, of course. So going through to in the Champions League, and also there's a big financial reward, and not only exposure for the players and everything, but in this circumstance where clubs are relying on the fans to come in to be in the stadium. Yeah, we have exactly 16 people in the stadium who's going to watch the game, and normally we have 54. So only a match like this is already it's a loss of around 2.8 million.
Yeah, okay. It must be interesting for you because you know the importance of the footballing side of things, winning the trophy like you have in the past at both Ajax and Manchester United. But what hat is more important for you now? Is it the financial one?
No, actually no. Actually, it's more the promotional one, making sure that Ajax, that the Netherlands, like if you talk about football, the last 10, 15 years, the commercial revenues, the TV deals in Spain, Italy, Germany, France, because of Paris Saint-Germain and the UK have been massive. So they have taken big strides and running away from a lot of other clubs and a lot of leagues. So in that way, same as the season 18-19, for us it's more about exposure, and also we want to be reckoned again as a European force, and that is more difficult for us because we are losing every year our best players, and let's say the Real Madrids and the Juventus and the Chelseas, they're able to lose their weakest player and replace them with a much better player for your higher transfer fee. And for us, we sell high for a high fee, but even if we want to buy a 25 million euro player, the interest all from the bigger leagues is there also. So in that way, we are fighting a difficult war, but I have the feeling that we are well equipped to participate in the later stage of the Champions League.
Let's dig into that philosophy a little bit, which means that you have to keep producing the goods to be able to, scrape off the cream and sell it on for the money that's so important. I mean, if you were to describe the overarching philosophy of Ajax, when you're asked for that sort of mission statement, what do you say?
Yeah, it's developing. It's giving the players the opportunity, a stage where they can perform all the things that they've learned during the years in the academy. And we are, the philosophy is producing Champions League winners, and preferably we like to produce them and keep them in our own squad and our own team. But the reality is, after 3-4 years, when you did well, you come into the team, you won trophies, you reach a national team, then our league is not strong enough. So in that way, myself had that ambition. Mark Overmars, our football director, has been here also, played at Ajax, went to Arsenal, Barcelona, and myself. At a certain point, you want bigger competition, and as long as we don't play every year till the semi-final, it's obvious that after 4 years of service, we also would like the players to move on, because in the ideal world, the next one is already knocking on the door, and we rather replace one that we sell with one from the academy.
And I mean, you make it sound quite easy, but to produce top level talent, year after year after year, is no easy task. And a lot of the people that are watching will work in various levels at different football clubs, and will be intrigued to know how do you do that? What are the secrets to the success of that production line, which Ajax has been so famous for and has rediscovered of late?
Yeah, I would love to tell you that, but it's difficult. Then our secret is out.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's. I think. I think. Yeah, we put a lot of time, effort, and also money. Our academy costs around 12 million euros a year.
Mm.
Also, we make sure we have schooling, so not only the football side, but also the cognitive side of an academic side of a player. We take it in our strides. The great thing about Ajax is you have an example. Let's say if we have Donny van de Beek. He just recently went to Man United, but before him there was Davy Klaassen. Davy Klaassen was a player, was our captain. We played the Europa League final in 2017 against Manchester United. After that, he left to Everton, but he plays at exactly the same position. He played exactly in the under 16 and the 17s, so he could focus himself on that player in the first team. So if he moves, I should be the one that replaces him. And we give him that pathway to the first team. And of course, dedication, hard work, talent, surroundings, girlfriend, family, all those things, of course, incredibly important. But the main thing is that we're giving the opportunity, and that's where we are, I think, different than, let's say, the bigger clubs. Also, of course, we also buy players because not everything can be solved by the academy. And we also buy a player from Denmark or a player from Ghana. But in general, the feeling is, and also the coach, the manager, one of his primary jobs, of course, winning the league. But next to that is giving room and giving space for young players to get a first taste of football. Can they deal with the pressure? And that way, we don't have to look less to the outside world than instead to our academy.
For people who don't know, tell and describe what the TIPS or the TIPS Ajax model is, because I guess that's sort of integral to the whole thing, isn't it?
I think what your previous question, the last, I think I joined 8 years ago. I think with Ajax had a difficult position between 2000 and 2010. So things were not going well. A lot of things have changed. I think Johan Cruyff was a big part of that also, and that was also why I ended my playing career in 2011. And I had a chat with Johan. He said, "Yeah, I want ex-players who reached the top, who had experience in winning, in failure, in dealing with press, dealing with tensions, to be part of the board." That they know what's happening, and also we changed our philosophy a little bit in the academy. More emphasis on training, more emphasis on strength, on core. So in that way, a couple of things what you mentioned are in a different surroundings now than in the past.
Okay, so it's evolving all the time.
Yeah, but that needs to be, because I retired 9 years ago. But if you see the pace of the game, the speed of the ball, the how far the ball goes away from the feet with the first touch, it looks already that 10 years ago is already a lifetime away compared to.
Okay.
It's recently 25 years ago when we won the Champions League with Ajax and the World Cup in Japan. The level of football, it looked like almost at that time it was spectacular. And now, if you look at it, it's are you playing a second division type of football? Because football evolves. Players are so much more powerful, more strength, more runs, that kind of thing. So you need to evolve, because if you stand still, then it's gone. And I think we anticipated that quite clearly and made sure that we made more hours on the training ground, brought school onto the training ground, so there less time away from with traveling. So everything happening at the training ground, and in that way we look forward to a bright future with our academy.
What's your stance? Because I mean, you didn't necessarily start, right at the sort of the earliest age in playing football. It was maybe a little bit later. I mean, weigh up what's best when you have a kid from sort of 7, 8, or someone that's maybe sort of been away and then can be brought in? I guess the Ajax model is built that you can do both, but what do you prefer?
Yeah, it's different. For example, Matthijs de Ligt went for 75 million 2 years ago to Juventus. He was 17 when he came into the team. He was 8 8 or 9 when he joined the academy. Donny van der Beek, 11. But for example, Frenkie de Jong, he came at 17 from like a first division club. Serginho Dest, who recently went from Ajax to Barcelona, the right back. He was maybe one of the players who was not considered as the biggest talent. He had some off-pitch difficulties, not always easy for himself and for the coaches. But somehow, he managed to scrape through, got an opportunity in a training camp, and grabbed his chance. So in that way, it depends a lot. It's not always the biggest talents that gonna make it. It's also how is your desire, how is your family around it, and in that way, it's multiple ways to reach the first team. One player who plays now, Masrui, he is, for example, we have our second team plays also in the second division, so professional side. He was okay when he was at the under 19s, but he didn't get a contract. So he said a lot of other young players had contracts already, had sponsorship deals, and he didn't. So he said, I'm going to fight. I'm going to earn my contract. So we brought him to the second team. And after half a year, he got a small contract. A year later, he touched the first team, got a small first team contract, and is now, he's playing tonight. So in that way, you have multiple ways, and it's all about giving and the pathway and giving the possibility to play.
I mean, you mentioned, players having difficulties for a whole range of, reasons, especially as they grow older, or it might be when they're younger, they have, problems with their family or whatever. They're human beings. Like they can have problems like anyone. I mean, how sort of comprehensive is the player care element of Ajax? Because obviously, we're talking for the Premier Sports Network, which have done a lot of work in the area of player care in the UK and hosted international conferences on that topic. Looking after the player, but also the person as well. How important is that? Yeah,
it's very important. I think we are we have an open training ground, so the players, the not during training, but during matches, the parents will be there also. We're speaking, I think, 4 times with the parents and the player during the football year. And of course, sometimes you have bad news, or the player need to add a little bit more than otherwise. He will be in danger if he can prolong his career at Ajax. And that way, we're dealing also now. The last couple of years, we've been signing more South American players, for example. It's good, of course. Amsterdam as a multicultural city. So in that way, if you have someone from Sierra Leone or from Ghana or from Argentina, there's always a community around. So that helps. So in that way, of course, we have dedicated people to looking after the players. But for example, with younger players, we tend to bring them in a foster family, to bring them with let's say a Dutch family or even a family from Ghana if they prefer, just to make sure that they grow up in a household and not in at 17 already in an apartment by themselves with friends you don't know. So we try to, of course, have as much as possibility to feel and smell how he's developing and making sure that all the bits are taken care of outside the football world. And I mean, from your experience of being at Ajax, in the 90s, how has the club changed from then when you were a player? And I mean, obviously you were in the first team, but you will have been familiar with, what was going on in the academy at that point. Is it completely different, or are there still sort of strands that remain from those days? I think it's, of course there are parts of it, but Okay, for example, now we're trying to build a new training ground. Like we are going to invest in it, going to be around 60, 70 million euros. But this discussion we're having also, do we need an internal community there? Do we need to have rooms and that they grow up? For example, I went to Bayern Munich. They have an internat. They're not leaving the football ground. So in our view, I think to have life outside football is an important part also of growing up, because I think the demands of the players will be getting higher and higher. With of course they're under the scrutiny of everybody, and of course you have the social media part on that side also. So in that way, it has changed a lot.
And from your point of view as well, now you're at the top of the tree at a football club, having been a player under some quite sort of all-powerful managers. And let's not beat around the bush. I'm talking about Sir Alex Ferguson here, who was basically, I guess he was like the chief executive, the chairman of Manchester United, and the manager. How do you what have you learned from someone like that in terms of managing an entire football club? Or is it completely different because you are in a properly formulated business structure almost?
For myself, I come back to Alex Ferguson later, but for myself also, being a goalkeeper, I always had everything in front of me. So everything behind me was bad, then you concede. So I was there. I was talking to my defenders. I was coaching them, making sure that everything was right. If the left back was going, make sure that the right back stayed. And of course, you need to go forward, and I can do it with a long ball or I can play a short pass. But I need to communicate with my defenders as good as possible, so that I didn't have that much to do. And I think, how I do that now as a chief executive here is similar. You need to give confidence to people. You need to coach the people around you in your office to do the job they're best at. So that my financial director knows more about finance, commercial director, football director, and the same with my left back, Patrice Evra or Gary Neville. I don't have to tell them if they I can give them a little command about go short or stay wide or stay here. And for example, Alex Ferguson really he also built it up. He's been a manager for so long. And of course, when I came to United in 2005, he already won the Champions League, numerous trophies. So in that way, it's much easier to mold the club to your liking, because you have experience with an assistant coach, with a first team coach, the chief executive, David Gill at that time. So in that way, to have a connection with each other is utmost important. And I saw some people from Man United also in the lineup here and at the participants and everything. So I think she knows much better how Alex Ferguson works and everything. But I really enjoyed it. I was used to, for example, Louis van Gaal was every session he took himself. Maybe not the day after the training, but in general. So in Europe, we look much different to a coach than England as a manager, because then it looks like you have to deal with the whole team. But for example, my coach here at Ajax, his job is to make sure the first team wins, and let Mark Overmars and myself deal about the commercial side and the football side.
And it's interesting. I mean, you mentioned leaving people to it, but when do you? How difficult is it?
I step in when it's needed. Same as when there's a through ball in my defense. Let's say it's a through ball between Vidic and Ferdinand. If it's then I go out and get it, and that's similar now. If they stuck with a problem, they can't solve it, or I see things are going wrong, I ask, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Can I help you? And in that way, I try to be like the sweeper keeper that I was there as a player, as being a chief executive.
Yeah.
Maybe I make it. I exaggerate a little bit. It's not that simple, because it's a proper job, being a chief executive.
But no, it's a good analogy. Just as long as you're not like Rene Higuita and you start running up the pitch and doing everything yourself, then I think you'll be all right.
I like to have people that are doing things for me.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. from the point of view of, dealing with the current climate, being a chief executive, you're at the top of the tree and you're having to deal with an unprecedented situation. From your point of view, learning on the job, I suppose, in this situation must have been very, very challenging for you.
Yes, of course. Yeah. For us, let's say the good thing is we are financially quite healthy. We have the last couple of years we sold many players, so in that way, and we're, of course, we are a little bit in. For example, our TV revenue is 9 million. If you look at the UK, the number 20 in the Premier League, I think it gets around 130 million pounds.
Yeah.
So that's a big difference. So our gate income is 45 million. Yeah, to miss that in a year, it's a big dent in our budget, of course. But no, we're very solvable. So in that way, there's no panic. If you see, let's say Barcelona's, that kind of things, and of course, I still have a shitload of jerseys, for example. When there are no international tourists in Amsterdam, when the Chinese are not there, the English are not there, they're not buying the shirt. So in that way, of course, every club is dealing with the same kind of issues. Your fan shop is closed. There are no tours in the stadium. So of course, we're missing a big part of income. But we think, playing in Champions League, being in the Champions League, winning the league, we have a year and a half to make sure that we survive in this modus. And looking at cost, making sure that that expenditure goes down a little bit. But we have maintained all our staff and personnel, because every time you never really know when fans are allowed back in. So in that way, I'm confident with the quality staff that I have around me that we can deal with the situation that we're dealing with at the moment.
And I guess, does it just sort of make, I suppose when you have that production line, you can just say, okay, well, maybe we will have to sell 3 rather than 2 or 1 player, and it can just, you've got that instant cash if you need it.
Or maybe some clubs don't have the money to buy the players.
Yeah.
That we can maintain them and making, because I think there are many pieces about what brings success, and that if you can maintain whatever 70% of your core players, the chances of success or doing better in European competitions are higher. So in that way, we don't need to sell. There's not a deficit that I need to fill. Mm-hmm. It's just about what I started our conversation with. We know the ambition of the players, and if our players are not good enough to be scouted by the top clubs, then we are doing something wrong. If Hakim Ziyech Chelsea would not scouted him, we are doing something wrong. Van der Beek or De Ligt or the next players that are we have 2 young players playing tonight. So in that way, if they're not scouted by the big teams, we are doing something wrong. So for us, it sounds a bit strange, almost an honor if the Madrids, the Juventus, the Man Uniteds are coming for our players. Of course, I'd rather keep them, but we know being a player ourselves. So if you give us great service, if you give us league titles and commitment, then we think with you and set you along for the next part of your career. But we hope at the end that you come back at the Ajax and play for another year or 2 years, or come in our coaching staff, or be like myself and Mark. Hopefully we're going to be replaced also soon.
Yeah, well, not too soon. But
you never know.
No, but it's an interesting one, because I think some clubs struggle to pick the right time to sell, and that can have an impact not only on the club's finances, but also on the players' mental state, I suppose. You see so many players stagnating in football clubs, so striking the right balance is very important. I wanted to just ask you about a couple of sort of more newsy topics in a moment about substitutes and things like that. But from the point of view of how Ajax fits into the relationship with the national team, it seems to be, and correct me if I'm wrong, but quite a harmonious relationship. Is that true?
What do you mean with national team?
In terms of the success of Ajax is almost something that will lead to a strong Ajax will also be dovetailed with a strong national team?
Yeah, I think I can say that. Of course, I think because Holland is such a small country, I think our infrastructure is really great. I think every small village in Holland has a football pitch. So in that way, as a young boy, you go with your older brother or older sister to the tennis ground. There's always a football pitch. So in that way, we have a big foundation of young players. And in that way, if we develop rightly, of course, then that shines also for the national team. And we are taking experience not only from the Dutch league, but also our players are in England. Our players they learn how to defend in Italy. So those kind of characteristics that you maybe not learning in Holland, they are gathering in abroad and molding that back into the national team.
And just to sort of circle back on the main emphasis for Premier Sports Network, looking after sort of player care issues, related issues, how do you think player welfare has developed since you were playing? What things are now looked after that you either didn't even think about or didn't get any help with at all?
No, I think I was fortunate to. I went, for example, to Juventus. They come into a different culture, different language. Not a lot of people spoke English, so it's important to have somebody there where you can relate with and help your wife looking for a house, apartment, the cars, schools, that kind of things. I think most clubs already have that. I think at United also there were a lot of stuff that you could call people for. I think at a certain point also we don't need to exaggerate, because the moment you're going to help, making sure that the shopping is done by the wife, for example, or sorting out babysits. I think players, you need to also let them think a little bit for themselves, because if you're taking care of the whole package, then they become not say lazy, but they can sit back and everything will be taken care of. I think it's also good for yourself to find out how does it work at a bank in England, how does it work in the pharmacy in France. So I like to have players who think also for themselves and not being taken care of the 5 or 6 employees you are put in the player care department.
And from your point of view, when did you start to know exactly how you wanted your post-playing career to be? Because obviously you're now in an executive role. How did you make that path successful? Again hard work, and I wanted to give something back to Ajax. Ajax gave me the opportunity. What I said, I was 19 when I came here. I had a tremendous career, a lot of things by myself, so it's a little bit of luck, determination. I played until I was 40, so in that way I think also from Mark Overmars, and before that we had Dennis Bergkamp, Frank de Boer, Wim Jonk, loads of ex-players went back to Ajax, and I think in that way, I think in England it's a little bit too easy to go into the TV role, anchorman. I think the money is better there. It's hard work. I needed to sit in meetings 4 or 5 hours. I was marketing director, so I was flying around the world, also going to China, going to the States, finding the right partners, knocking on people's doors, and of course my name helped me a lot, helped the club a lot, being especially my last 6 years being quite successful as a player, playing the Champions League finals. So in that way, it was easy to knock on the door and to get it open. And then, you carry people around who gonna close a deal, and it's hard work. It's not easy. My wife said, "Okay, great, you finished playing football at 40. Let's make something out of life." And this is harder work than being a football player. The football player, you trained in the morning, you had lunch at Carrington. You said hello to a couple of guys, and then at home you slept for an hour, picked up your kids at 4, had dinner at 6, at 7, and that was it. Yeah.
So I will urge players also to try to study a little bit, learn a language, to take up a commercial course or something like that. It's going to help you. Not only look at the PlayStation.
Yeah, there is a lot of that, isn't there? And one final question, having reached the level that you're at now, would you ever, I'm trying to work out whether sort of going into management and things like that, would that ever appeal? No chance.
Oh, no, I don't think so. No, I like this role. I like even the freedom, let's say, because you can take a holiday. Let's say if you want to go in October to Dubai, for example, you can. And nowadays, the last 9 months, I've learned also you don't have to be physically every day at the office, because of the corona situation. So in that way, it's easy now to work from home, and also we were planning to extend our offices, and I've stopped that. And I think the idea is now to create nicer offices or cut down the offices and make it more like meeting spaces instead of having a desk and a laptop and a telephone on the desk.
Oh, nice.
So I don't see myself taking a step back as being a coach or different situations. No.
Edwin, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure all the attendees who've been watching, some of you will be familiar with Edwin from working with him, I'm sure, at various different football clubs over the years. I wish you all the best in the future, but in particular, I wish you all the best tonight, because now you've switched off for half an hour, focusing on your life. Now it's back onto football. So I wish you all the best against Atalanta tonight, and thank you very, very much for being with us today.
You're welcome.
Take care, Edwin. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.